It's between bets. It's our NFL Week 11 betting cards. We're going to give you our favorite bets for the ATS money line, totals, player props, and of course, anytime touchdown markets. And want to start out by looking how we all did in Week 10 for myself. One of my worst weeks in the last month or so. Started seeing the field pretty well, but just 1 for 5 on my player props. I did hit my bet of the week, my 3-unit play on Dalton Schultz, though, so that was great. 1 for 2 on the game picks. We did get a plus money Philadelphia Eagles on the money line call over the Green Bay Packers on Monday night. 1 for 2 on the TD calls as well. Steve, what about you? How was your betting card last week?
Yeah, I was pretty hot last week. I went 3 for 5 on the over-unders, missed a few unders by not much, and then hit a 5-leg parlay,
Okay.
which was nice. A single game parlay in the Buccaneers Patriots game.
Okay. Like to hear that. What about you, Eric? How did it go for you?
Actually took a week off of those betting
Oh,
streets while I
wow.
was traveling abroad. Instead, leaned into DFS in some locales where that was my option, and had a pretty solid week as well. I do well on slates and showdowns that get kind of gross. All of these 10-7 games play well for me in the DFS world.
Where are you traveling?
I was across the country. I went over to Southern California, and then midway through the week hopped back over to DC. So I was up in the
Wow.
air
Whoa.
for a lot of last week.
Wow. Didn't even know. Didn't even tell me. Oh,
Yeah,
bummer.
man. Now you know.
Now I know. Now I know you weren't just playing hooky on the show last week. So good to hear that. Let's jump right into things. And I got my first bet of the week, and it starts with the Baltimore Ravens. I'm taking the alt spread here, -6.5, -150 over at DraftKings versus the Browns. The Ravens, they have taken care of business since Lamar Jackson has been back in action. 3-0 straight up, 3-0 against the spread against Minnesota, Miami, and Chicago, beating those opponents by an average of 14.7 points and the spread as well by 9.3 points. So the books can't get them right, it seems, right now. And in games where Lamar has played full games, the Ravens are averaging 32.6 points per game. They're 4-2 straight up, 5-1 though ATS. That's the golden number right there. The Browns only averaging 265 yards per game right now, the second fewest in the NFL. They're also 20th in rush yards, 28th in pass yards, and are actually 29th in scoring as well, at just 16.2 points per game. So the Ravens defense has gotten a lot better over the past month, but this team is still holding teams under 20 points scored on them in that span. So I really like what they've been putting together right here. And I just don't think Cleveland has the horses to keep up with the Ravens in this one. I don't think they'll have much success throwing the ball specifically. So give me the Baltimore Ravens under a touchdown there, -6.5. And Eric, I'll throw it over to you for your 2 ATS plays as well.
Yeah, definitely like that play as well. Would probably squad ride with you. I will stick with the AFC North for my first pick. The Cincinnati Bengals are getting 5.5 points at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This seems like an absolute misprice. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the line move down to 4.5 or potentially even 3.5. So get those tickets in now while you can get it at -110 over at Hard Rock Bet. A lot of this just has to do with the reality of the Joe Flacco led Cincinnati Bengals, right? Apart from that first game against the Packers, where he had 2.5 days of preparation, the Bengals are either winning or losing by a hair's breadth. Every single one of them is coming down to the wire, usually a last-second score or a last-second touchdown on either side of the equation for the Bengals. And I think them getting 5.5 points is simply too big a number against a Steelers team that, I mean, I don't see how they can be competitive, right? Obviously, they forced a bunch of turnovers against the Colts and won a showcase game a few weeks ago. But really, this is a one-dimensional offense that anyone should be able to scheme for. And I think that we're going to be looking at 2 defenses that are allowing points to be scored in bunches this week. So give me 5.5 points with the Bengals on the road in Pittsburgh.
Okay, and then you also have another one here going up to Orchard Park.
Yeah, up to Orchard Park, different teams, but similar scenario. The Buffalo Bills are hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are also getting 5.5 points on the road. And much like with the Cincinnati Bengals, that number is simply too high, right? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been scoring in bunches. The Buffalo Bills have been having a hard time competing and in many cases losing games. So to see this sitting at 5.5 points is simply too big a number, right? We're looking at another week with Baker Mayfield and Emeka Ibuka 1 week further removed from that injury. I think they are settling into the reality of what this offense looks like with him as their wide receiver one. And the Buffalo Bills are allowing far inferior offenses to score pretty much at will. So
Mhm.
I think this will be a competitive game. It might be one of the games of the week, but I certainly don't think it's going to be a blowout. And that is what this 5.5 point spread seems to be indicating.
Okay, I'm going to head over to the AFC in an all AFC showdown with the Los Angeles Chargers laying just 2.5 right now, -120 at FanDuel against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I usually don't love laying points with a West Coast team coming out east for a 1 p.m. kickoff, but the Chargers have covered this number in their last 2 early kickoff road spots and in 3 straight games in general, all favored in those matchups. Meanwhile, the Jags right now, they have lost 3 of their last 4 games straight up and ATS. And the only game they did win was that overtime win against the Raiders, where Las Vegas went for 2 at the end to try to win it. So there are a few things in particular I do like about this matchup as well. The Chargers are most effective through the air right now without Omarion Hampton. 3rd in passing yards this season. The Jaguars have a bottom 8 defense against the pass in yards, 4th in passing touchdowns allowed as well. The Jags also are tied for the fewest sacks in the NFL, 12 at 1.3 per game. So I think that liability at tackle right now becomes a little bit less of a liability without the Jaguars being able to get after the quarterback. The Chargers have a very average rushing defense and are above average against the pass. So I just don't think T-Law is going to be able to exploit that without really a positive matchup and him still getting used to this new receiving core. We just got word it is going to be Travis Hunter out for the season. So bummer there. No status update as of now on BTJ as well. So I think you won't have enough to get over Jay Herbo and company in this one. So I love 2.5 before it gets up above that key number to 3 or 3.5. Steve, I'm going to send it over to you to crack open the total picks as well, my friend.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them. I can walk you through them if you want.
Please do.
All of them. Yeah, you got it. All right, let's start out with my hometown New England Patriots taking on the New York Jets. I'm going to go over 43.5. Both of these teams are hitting the overs over 60% of the time. So at this point, it's better than a coin toss chance that these teams score more than these points. Listen, I can't believe I'm saying it, and
Right.
I live here. The New England Patriots offense is electric. It's unreal. I mean, they're scoring points like crazy. The Jets, I don't know who's going to start. I'd imagine it's probably going to be Tyrod Taylor next, although Justin Fields, like, they won.
Probably
So I don't
better if
know.
it is Tyrod, honestly.
Like, I don't really know. It's not going to get better. This is not a quarterback issue in New York. It's a play calling issue. It's abysmal. But really, I would expect the Patriots, because the Jets traded away their 2 best defensive players, to put up 30 points on their own. So I'm looking for 14 out of the Jets, and I can count on that. I think. So I'm not going to sit here and say like I am bullish on the Jets, which I was early in the season, and I will own that loss. I am bullish on the fact that the Patriots might just bully them. They might get there on their own. I don't know. Like, they may just come out and stomp them into dust just to be like, see what we can do. Look who we are. And we don't like the Jets. Mike Vrabel, longtime New England Patriot, rival team. I could see him putting a foot on the throat of the New York Jets and putting up a big number here.
Yeah, I would almost think I would rather go with an ATS then at that point, because maybe I'm just like scarred from watching the last couple of primetime games where they've all gone under. But I do, or maybe even take a team total on the Patriots, because I just don't know what we get out of the Jets offense. That's I guess where I'm at there. But keep going, Steve, with your other 3 totals here, please.
Yeah, no, and then I'm going right back to the game that y'all were talking about just a second ago, Tampa Bay against Buffalo. This is a high over for me, but it's 48.5, and I like it. I like it. Neither defense is good. They don't have good defenses. So I'm like, hey, you know what? Electric offenses plus bad defenses equal points. I love to cheer for points. This is a very unusual number for me to take. It's very high, But I will say that this one, they both sit at around 50% when it comes to over-under. So it is more of a coin toss. I think coming off of a really bad game, really, really bad game, Josh Allen is going to come out with his head on fire a little bit. He's going to want to prove that he's fine. It's good. We're not worried. The Buccaneers just took a heartbreaking loss to the New England Patriots. They had the opportunity to win that game. It didn't go their way. Baker is, again, settling into that offense better and better every week with Igbuka, Tez Johnson. I think we're going to see points put up, and they're going to be put up in a hurry. So I'm high on that. The one that I'm much more sure about is the LA Chargers against Jacksonville Jaguars going over 43.5 points. Both teams go to the over 50% of the time. That's the number you're looking for. You want better than 50-50 odds. Both these teams give it to you. Yes, the Chargers are good against the pass. Are they as good as they looked against the Steelers? No. That is a one-trick pony offense. It's throw it to DK Metcalf and nothing else. There's no other option. The Jaguars.
Wow. We have Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren's pretty
That's what
good
you want to
player
hang your
right
hat
now.
on? You want to argue? You want to argue against being one trick pony with Jalen Warren? That's what you're bringing to the table?
Yeah, I will. And we have good tight ends, but that's
what about those 4 tight end sets? What
Yeah,
about
those 4 tight ends. Yeah.
Hey, we got him, baby. We got
They're
him.
coming.
Yeah,
They're in the bag.
And your 85-year-old quarterback. Listen, this is not. The Jaguars are a better team than the Steelers are, offensively at least. I think this is a game that this is a smash over for me at this point. I think with the Chargers being such an electric team through the air, contrary to what we saw in that primetime game, which was so strange, the Jaguars are susceptible through the air. The Chargers are susceptible on the ground. I think both teams go very well with this. And then I'm going to move to, this is an unusual one. I'm taking an under.
Oh, wow. Sound the alarms. Blink twice.
I'm taking an under, but there's a caveat. Green Bay against the New York Giants under 43.5 points if Jackson Dart does not play. If it's Russell Wilson under center, I'm going with.
What if it's famous Jameis?
I was going to say, I feel like the caveat should be if Russell Wilson is playing.
You know what? I didn't even think of Jameis getting in. If it's Jameis, you smash that over all day long because that's going to be a gazillion points because he'll throw 2 pick sixes and 7 touchdowns, right? I mean, he'll put up points for the other team himself. This Packers offense looks bad. It looks bad. There's something wrong with it. There's something inherently broken with this offense. I can't tell you what it is. I think Josh Jacobs is dealing with a nagging injury. Jordan Love, it's something going on between the ears. There's something up here.
I just don't think they're letting him uncork it. I don't think they're letting him uncork it. They're playing like scared, it feels like, and just afraid to turn the ball over.
I'll tell you this, though, more than that, and I know y'all love your stats. The Packers do not go, they're worse than 50% at going over. The Giants are at 50%. So this is putting them together, a sub 50% chance of hitting the over. We just watched the Packers put up nothing. I mean, that was stall after stall after stall after stall after stall after stall against a not that great Eagles defense. The Eagles defense is fine, but Jalen Phillips looks like a superstar against the offensive line of the Green Bay Packers. I think with Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and then your boy out of Penn State there, this is going to be a feast for the New York Giants defensive line. All those cornerbacks have to do is hold for a second and a half because that is going to be chow town for the front four. Now, can they do that? I'm not entirely sure. But they are coming off. They just fired their head coach. So let's have a little bit of faith in the boys in blue, huh?
Dead cat bounce.
Okay. All right. So a different take on the dead cat bounce there. Eric, you actually, despite all the hate for the Steelers offense, actually believe maybe they show up here against the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday.
Yeah, I do agree that they are a one-trick pony, but I also agree or tend to believe that stats matter. The Cincinnati Bengals have played 9 games this season. They opened the year with a 17-16 nail biter against the Browns, and then since then they have allowed 27 points, 48 points, 28 points, 37 points, 27 points, 31 points to the Steelers, another 39 points to the Jets, and 47 points to the Bears last week. This is very much so a winning ticket that you can cash pretty much every single week, right? While it may be one-dimensional, this defense will allow even one-dimensional offenses to be productive. So I feel pretty good about the Steelers hitting that over 27.5.
All right, and you also have two upset specials of the week coming in the money line market. One team being one that cost me a lot of coin last week that I don't really care to get back invested with.
Don't be scared, okay? That team in question, I've actually got a couple of road doggies here. The team in question, I'm assuming, is the Carolina Panthers, plus 165 to the money line at the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, look, this is a Carolina Panthers team that is in the thick of the NFC wild card race, that has taken teams far better than the Atlanta Falcons to the brink and actually has pulled off several upsets throughout the year. I think if nothing else, we were bemoaning how one-dimensional and slow-paced and run-oriented this offense was a few minutes ago. That is a game plan that will keep middling teams in the game all the way down to the last second. And you look at the other side of the ball, Atlanta, yes, they had a miraculous win over a bit of a sputtering Bills team all of a sudden. And they have another win against a Jaden Daniels-less Commanders team. And besides that, they're getting kind of stomped out every single week. So
Absolutely.
I have no idea why Atlanta is a favorite here. If it was a slight favorite, the classic 3 points for being at home, that would be one thing. But a plus 165 price tag is a juicy price for a Carolina Panthers team that is still fighting for their playoff lives. A team that is less so fighting for their playoff lives, but also getting a juicy number. The Chicago Bears plus 145 at the Minnesota Vikings. I spent part of this show earlier tonight talking about how I believe in Caleb Williams and the trajectory of this offense. I think that this is going to be a competitive game down to the stretch, probably a bit more offensive in nature. The Vikings defense has been playing better of late, but still not a team or a unit that should be able to limit this Ben Johnson offense. And you look at what the Bears are doing. They never say die, right? It doesn't matter what circumstance they're in. They've got the horses that they can uncork a deep ball. They have the support of a now two-headed running game that should keep this one competitive. So the Bears should be in this one down to the stretch run. I like them to win outright, especially when you're getting plus 145 at it.
This is a really aggressive number considering JJ McCarthy looks pretty bad.
Yeah,
I think he's looked solid, actually. I think
really? Do you? Because the numbers aren't backing that up at all.
Well, look at the first half of the game a couple weeks ago against the Lions, and he looks really good. Like, he's played good halves. He just isn't stringing it together. Yeah. That's kind of the thing. Like, he's had moments.
That's kind of the part of playing winning football, right? Like, you tend to put four winning quarters together.
Yeah, if your grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bike. Like, what are we talking about here?
I think the number for the Panthers is actually even more suspect, honestly. Like, I don't want to get back invested with them after they burned me last week, but I might just have to plus 165. Do you think
can I ask you guys, I just want to ask about the Bears because I just bashed JJ McCarthy. Do you think Caleb Williams is a good quarterback?
Yes.
I think he needs to stop holding on to the ball too long and play in rhythm more. But I think he has the tools to be a good quarterback. I don't think he's a good quarterback yet, but I think he has talent. Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him past the good category, but I think he's a good quarterback.
Like, do you think he's like, who he kind of reminds me of just a little bit is like young Jameis Winston? Like, it's chaos, right? Like, it's chaos. Can he win some games? Yeah, he'll throw. There's no throw he won't. He can't make. But like, the decision making isn't there, right? Like, that's kind of what we're at. So we need him to develop into.
I think that comes with time. Right, especially in this Ben Johnson offense, right? Like, it's hit your back foot and just fire, and he's a little indecisive there.
Yeah,
but as you get more and more games under your belt in this system, I mean, granted, this is his second season, but he is essentially starting from square one after the calamity that was the 2024 season for the Bears, right? So
brutal.
Ostensibly, he's 9 or 10 games into his NFL career, as I see it.
Yeah.
So I think he's on a good trajectory.
Okay.
And speaking of JJ McCarthy, that's actually where I'm going with my first player prop of the week. I'm going with his over on the rushing yards. He has hit The BP projected line right now coming in at 23.5 in 3 of 4 games, averaging 5.3 attempts, 27.5 yards per game. And he's facing a Chicago team that has allowed the most rushing yards to quarterbacks over the past month, 35.5 yards per game, and the second most on the season. That comes down to just under 30 yards. Semi-mobile quarterbacks game logs against Chicago this season. Jackson Dart, your boy, he, while leaving early last week, still 6 for 66 and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Huntley, 8 for 53. Jaden Daniels, 10 for 51. Hey, Geno Smith, how about 4 for 31? And then also JJ McCarthy himself in week 1, 2 for 25 and a rushing touchdown. I'll also give me a little Breece Hall action on Thursday night. I will warn you, haven't been great on the Thursday night calls so far this season, but this is one of my favorite plays of the week. So I got multiple units on it, of course. Breece Hall over 15.5, receiving yards minus 114 at FanDuel, already listed, already bet on. And over the past month of the season, the Pats have allowed the most receptions and the most targets to opposing running backs. Over the season, they've averaged 6.1 receptions per game allowed and 38.1 yards per game to the running back position through the air. And if I know this, the Jets have to know this as well, especially after Breece Hall won that game for him last week, taking that screen pass to the house. So 5 straight running backs have crossed this mark, and Breece has in 5 of 9 games this season. So why not on Thursday Night Football? And then I also have a little bit of a gross one that I'm going to throw out on you as well. We're going to say it's conditional. If this line gets out of hand, I'm not going to go on it. But right now, BP is projecting it to be released around 10.5 yards. So I'm going over on Terrance Ferguson, the rookie tight end for the Los Angeles Rams yards. He's cleared this, averaging 30 yards per game over the past 3 weeks. The Rams right now, it's crazy. They run out 4 different tight ends. So it's really annoying to watch this. But I also think there's even some parlay action here, right? Because Fergie right now is averaging 3.3 targets per game in that span and 22.5 yards per reception. So he only needs 1 catch to go over this realistically.
Right.
And over the last month, the Seahawks have allowed the 4th most receptions, the 5th most receiving yards to opposing tight ends. 5 tight ends have cleared this projected line in the last 2 weeks. 5 in the last 2 weeks. That's why maybe I'm saying we go a little parlay action, get some Parkinson in there, get some Higbee in there. It'll be interesting. So it's gross, but and every tight end has also seen a target in the past 6 weeks. Every tight end that has seen a target in the past 6 weeks against this team has hit this. That is 11 different tight ends in that span. So that is why I'm saying I think there's some action here for the big men against the Rams. They're all getting used. So, but Terrance Ferguson is the one I'll straight bet, and I'll also maybe parlay this up with a couple of the other ones, boys.
Don't mind the call at all. Obviously, the all-world receivers on the perimeter and running out of the slot are drawing plenty of defensive attention for the players that are facing the Rams. But also the Rams, all of a sudden, a pretty dramatic shift from last year, lead the league in 13 personnel usage.
Yeah.
About 17% of their plays has 3 tight ends on the field. So these guys are out there, and when they're running routes, they are getting little to no defensive attention. So 1 catch feels like a pretty reasonable proposition.
Yeah,
I feel like we need to start putting a little bit more respect on Sean McVay's name, because I think we got tired, I guess. He's always in his bag every year. This guy's in his bag, and we always think we know what Sean McVay's going to do. We don't. We have no idea. The man is still a mad genius and is proving it year over year over year. I mean, this is crazy that he's rolling out literally 3 different tight ends. All of them are involved in some way.
There's 4 of them too.
It's insane. The man is like the Mad Hatter, but it works.
Yeah, it does. He's like a caterpillar, right? He goes into a cocoon and he comes out every year, and it's a new looking butterfly.
I'm retiring, I'm done, and then he comes out with a new offense.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm very interested here in the Rams tight ends, and didn't shout out our boy Davis Allen there. That was the other guy. That was the 3rd or 4th tight end, depending if you're looking at yards or snap share. But yeah, so. And let's go ahead to our touchdown call contest of the week. And we are, of course, presented by our friends over at Dynasty Decks. They got some of the sickest plaques out there, whether you're trying to remember your fantasy football league championship year forever, whether you got basketball tournaments going on, golf tournaments, everything you need, they can help you over there at the Decks. So make sure you guys are checking them out today. And an update on the leaderboard. Trav is now solo in command once again of the lead. He's had it almost the entire season right now. 16 touchdown calls for Trav, but we are hot on his heels. Rob with 15, James with 14, Steve with 14, myself with 14 after we both got one last week. Steve, I feel like we've been on the left side of this board all year, man. It's feeling good.
We're elite. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and not elite, though, but closing the gap still. Eric Romoff with 12, baby. Eric, how you feeling with 12 over there, man? You've almost made it over to the Cool Kids Club.
Man, another two-banger on my plus money selection from last week. Unfortunately, my heavy favorite James Cook decided to not be the James Cook that we've known and loved. So I will make the crossover to the left side of the board before we know it. And I got my sights set on Trav.
We'll see. Also, Trash Sandwiches, Jake Perry, and Ben Siebert. Our boy Jake having a tough time. He was on the show last week, and he switched one of his picks after the fact, and it caused him to not hit one. So
I might have this wrong. I feel like Jake came out of the gate like he was shot out of a cannon.
I think he went
stretch there, right?
I think he went 8 straight weeks with a touchdown, and then stalled hard.
Life comes at you fast, Jake.
It has been cool. It has been cool. And guys, I've been letting you go first over the last couple of weeks here, just, trying to play good host here, but I think I need to change things up for the vibes this week. So I'm going to kick us off with JJ McCarthy anytime touchdown, 3-1 over at Bet365. He has scored a touchdown on them in week 1. Also, Jackson Dart, he got 2 touchdowns last week against the Bears. So JJ has ran for a score in 50% of his games this season. So 3-1 kind of feels a bit wild of a number to be hanging out there. So very interested in JJ McCarthy. I think maybe you can even find that a better number later on in the week, but we shall see. Also take Rico Dowdle going back to the well here. Anytime touchdown 2 weeks in a row for my boy Rico. And for me, I just love getting him at -120 when he's already opening at other books at -140. Rico has scored 3 touchdowns in the past 2 weeks and has scored in 5 of his 8 last games. Since Chuba Hubbard got hurt in week 5, Rico is 9th in rushing attempts inside the 20, 7th inside the 15, 7th inside the 10, 5th inside the 5. And over the last month, the Falcons have allowed the most rushing touchdowns, 6, and tied for the second most receiving touchdowns, 2 opposing running backs. JT, how about 3 last week? Terrell Jennings, you can get in the end zone the week before. Achane, Ollie Gordon, they both did it in week 8. CMC twice in week 7. In fact, they have let a running back score every week of the season, going all the way back to when Rico Dowdle did it himself in week 3. The only team who didn't, the Vikings in week 2. So give me a little Rico Dowdle anytime touchdown, -120. I already bet this one as well. 2.5 units down on Uncle Rico there for me. Steven, your anytime touchdowns for the week are?
Yeah, I'm going to go with someone on the other side of your touchdown call. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson. He's going to catch one from JJ McCarthy because the Bears defense is kind of cheeks. It's not good. No Jalen Johnson. That's a big problem. Justin Jefferson is due. This is a huge down year for our boy Jay Jettas, right? This has not been fun. I haven't enjoyed it, but I think they're going to make a concerted effort because one thing that I know star wide receivers hate more than anything else is when their numbers are being impacted by poor play or what they feel like is a perceived lack of design plays for them. I do expect Kevin O'Connell to work to get Justin Jefferson the ball in the end zone and score him a touchdown. I am perfectly happy to take the +119 over at Caesars. And then I got to eat crow and I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to be like, you know what? Whatever. You guys were right. Everyone was right. I was wrong. Blah, blah, blah. JSN, Jackson, Smith-Njigba will go for a touchdown because it seems like, much like his spiritual predecessor, Chris Carter, all this guy does is catch touchdowns. It is unbelievable the tear this man is on right now. It is remarkable. I'm happy for him. I'm happy that I was wrong, which is a weird thing to say. I will own that I was wrong. I thought Sam Darnold and the new offense and the scheme and his skill set was not going to translate to this Kubiak style. Shows I don't know what on earth I'm talking about sometimes. I like to think I do every time. I always try to be right. I try to bring you the best analysis I can. There's nothing else to say other than JSN. He scores touchdowns every game. It seems like he's going for a long one, and it's early. This will be done and put to bed before halftime, and you'll be sleeping on easy money. So, yeah, I'm just going to eat crow, and I'm going to be like, you know what? Here we go. Let's ride it. Let's ride it. It makes being wrong just a little more palatable.
I love how maybe the most honorable moment you've had on this program's history and taking the L there on JSN, but you do it kind of backhandedly calling him Chris Carter because he's also leading the league in receiving yards. So take a step down on that one.
Chris Carter is a fantastic wide receiver. Like, that's not a knock to call someone Chris Carter.
Yeah, I don't know if Chris Carter ever led the league in receiving. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't know. I feel like JSN at his peak right now is better than Chris Carter ever was. But Chris Carter is also a Hall of Famer, so what do I know? Is he a Hall of Famer? Am I wrong on that? I thought he was.
Hall of Famer. I backhanded someone with a compliment by calling him a Hall of Famer.
How dare you, Steve?
How dare I?
Savage.
And Eric, you don't have a Hall of Famer on your anytime touchdown call of the week, but you do have the son of a Hall of Famer.
Says who? Just writing the book on Marvin Harrison Jr. 2 years into his NFL career like that. Jeez. Apparently, I am more bullish on Marv than most. A lot of these lines are not available when we do our pre-show prep. The Marvin Harrison Jr. line has posted floating around plus 165 right now. So I was guesstimating around plus 125. You can get him for a juicier price tag. He's going to be facing off against a Rams team that should be doing a fair amount of scoring. There should be a lot of fireworks in this game. And Marvin Harrison Jr., while he hasn't been hitting these prolific fantasy productions week in and week out, he is seeing a ton of targets with Jacoby Brissett under center. 12 targets last week, found the end zone in the game prior off of 10 targets. So love the way that the volume is heading for Marvin Harrison Jr., and he has a juicy matchup predominantly going to be running in the coverage of Diamadou Lenore, who has allowed 4 touchdowns on a little bit better than 25 receptions this season. So you like that touchdown rate. You like getting him at the plus money. The second player is actually not posted quite yet, but I'm assuming he's going to be sitting around minus 110. That is Javonte Williams going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. RIP to your Mondays having to watch this one-sided game on Monday Night Football. The Raiders are currently the third or tied for the third worst in the league, allowing 1.3 rushing touchdowns per game this year. And they are they're ranked 25th in yards after contact allowed. So we know that Javonte Williams is a volume monster in this offense. The game script is in his favor. And whether it is, again, 25th in yards after contact allowed or 19th in missed tackle rate, should be able to break 1 or maybe 2 of those touches for a trip to the end zone.